Howdy folks, how are y'all doing? My name is Reese, and welcome back to the Minecraft 2025 Let's Play Adventure, where today is Friday, August the 22nd, and of course Fridays are our Fan Fridays, where we do different projects as suggested, recommended, requested, or otherwise pried out of our wonderful supporters, by force if necessary, and sometimes interpreted from comments a little bit out of context, because gosh darn it, we're desperate for content around here, and if you're not going to comment and give me ideas for Fan Fridays, I'm just going to make them up based on your comments. I'll extract them, which is not what we're doing today, although it kind of is. One of our supporters, Janco McDouling, has stated, ask of Reese, 2 of each variant of animal, then there will be a petting zoo. Now, if you're thinking that means we're going to go out and get 2 of every animal, not today. That's not what's happening. But we have already gotten 2 variants of chicken that we've just kind of left over here to their own devices, and they're just roaming around. And I thought, you know what? It would be fun to have a petting zoo, a place to look at all these different animals. And I figured that today might be a good time to start that by building a little habitat for the chickens. And then one for the sheep. Well, no, we're good on the sheep. One for the pigs, one for the cows. Get all the different variants of all the different unique animals. The only issue is, I'm not sure where to put them. And when you look around the island, you can see we've already got different places for different animals. Like I said, the sheep are handled. They're all inside the barn. We've already got one of every color. We're good to go there. We've got a place over here for axolotl. We have a place over here for some animals, but this is really more of a place of pride for Ash the Ocelot and Janco McJackrabbit. Yes, that's the same Janco, by the way, who's just having a ball down there. So where are we going to put just all the other animals? And initially, I was looking out over here at this new part of the island. It's where we already left those chickadees. It's where we've got all of our bees. And by the way, I've not been neglecting harvesting honey at all. What would make you think that? Just because there's honey inside the hives right now? No, not at all. Of course not. I've been diligent about that. I'm paying attention. I've been focused on what's going on. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized, you know what? There's already animals over here. There's already animals in this barn, and there's already animals inside of that tank, and there's already, well, those are villagers. But I was like, you could put them right here. Clear all this away and have a little area where we've got the farm animals. But here's my concern is I don't want to overcrowd this part of the island. And there's something nice about having that space there be empty. I've thought about planting a couple of trees there. Maybe not dense trees, but sparse trees of some variety. Maybe even the cherry logs. What I like about the cherry trees is that there's a lot of space under them to walk under them. They're very tall and there's a lot of space under them and they're not too dense. They're rather sparse. Same thing with a variety of other trees. I've thought about putting trees here, maybe some tall jungle trees, something like that. Or we can manufacture trees. But do we want to do that, or do we want to have our animals here? And is there enough room? I'm talking about all of this as if I've already arrived at a conclusion, and some of you might have even already gotten that sort of a mistaken concept in your mind that I'm telling you all of this in the lead up to explaining that we've already made a decision. We haven't, so don't get too excited. But now that I'm looking at it and I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking I might have an idea. A way to keep this, because what I was thinking was building a petting zoo, is it's a structure that goes up, right? But now that I'm looking at it, I'm starting to get inspiration from this over here. Maybe it's a structure that goes down into the ground. Maybe it's built up like this with the stone bricks and the slabs and the animals on the inside. And maybe it is built here. Maybe we go ahead and excavate this whole segment of the earth. And we have... Oh, but is there enough for all the different sheep and all the different chickens and all the different cows? That I'm not sure about. Especially if we're going to have 2 of every type, and we want 2 of every type. That feels important. Also, I have a correction for Janco's comment. He did not say ask of Reese. He said arc of Reese. 2 of each variant of animal. Then there will be a petting zoo. Do we want to build an ark? If we built an ark, where would we build it? We did at one point have a ship off the coast over there. And we've talked about building a dock over here. What if we did build an ark? What if we built an ark right there and we had 2 of every animal on it? That's quite the structure, though. That's not something we can do on a Fan Friday. That's a big Project Tuesday for Productivity Day. All right, I've arrived at a decision. We are going to temporarily temporarily transform this little plot of land here, this undeveloped plot, into a, again, temporary hold for all of our different creatures. And then, after we've collected them all, then we will, because we've got to move all of this as well. All of this, we're getting rid of all of this over here once we build the proper library in an upcoming Project Tuesday. So, once we have the library and we move all of them over, we can delete all of that. Oh, but then wouldn't it make more sense to have all the animals be over here? Huh. Closer to the arc where they're going to go? And then what do we do with this field? Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. We can continue to talk about what we could do, but that's not going to help us actually get anything done. And at the end of the day, we need to actually get something done. So I'm going to step forward boldly, for better or worse. I'm going to go ahead and clear all this out. We're going to set ourselves an edge, and we're doing this. You know what? For better or worse, we're making this happen right now. Okay, I framed up the whole thing roughly the way that it's going to go. We're going to do three wide roads to either side. That's going to sort of encircle it, so I had to do a little bit of shuffling around of the dirt in the area. But this is what we've got. And now I've just got to bring the level down by 1 block. Yeah, that's right, 1 block. What sucks is that I've got to go through all the effort of breaking this dirt so I can then break all the sand underneath it so I can then put the dirt down there. Because obviously the creatures need grass or they'll die. Okay, got all of that hollowed out. Now to put down the grass layer. Actually, we're not going to, because I'm going to make some coarse dirt for the area where the animals' bedding is going to be, because that's more realistic for where they, like, lay down. You know how they, like, crush all the grass and everything beneath them, and it gets all matted and muddy, and that's where they like to sleep. We're also going to need a lot more stone brick for this little project of ours. Hey, now, you gotta go, buddy. You gotta go. You gotta go. You gotta go. Whoop! Yeah, that was supposed to be really cool. I was supposed to jump up there and place the block as I went. Listen, let's not dwell on it. Some of you might be wondering about my choice to use stone brick instead of mud brick, and I haven't decided yet whether or not we're going to transition everything down here to mud yet. We talked about it. I really like the way the mud brick looks up here. We're definitely leaving it like this up here. And I'm thinking I might like it down here as well. But haven't decided just yet. We'll get there. We'll make that decision. We might do some experimentation. We might start an episode, and all of this stone brick has already been swapped out to mud brick, and you're just gonna have to go, wait, what? And I'm not gonna say anything about it. And we're just gonna have to, like, notice and then comment, and let me know what you like better. Oh, heavens. Okay. We're going to say that they live over here, in this corner, which means that the grass and the dirt are going to go over all around here. Okay, field of green. Red roses too. No, hold on. Let's see. I think we invert. Hold on, wait, what am I doing? There we go. That'll give us our coarse dirt. Okay, and the reason I left this gap here is so we can have a transition, and we're going to have it kind of go where we have, like, grass like that. And then this sort of sticks out into it a little bit in a couple of places. Something like that. Yeah, and then we need to actually design the enclosures where they're going to lay down at night. We must pick a wood. Any wood will do, but we have to pick the right one. The right one for me and for you. Let's see. We're gonna go with the dark oak, because we're not using it anywhere else in the island, I don't think. And it kind of looks like a treated or like an oiled wood that you might use in a project like this in the real world. Although in the States, for the most part, our treated lumber is kind of greenish from the chemicals. There are other options. You can get... There are actually other options. That's the most popular form of treated lumber stateside. How was that? As like a little hut for them to sleep in. Did it help if we completely close in the sides? Possibly. We're going to build a few of them in sort of a staggered pattern like we've got here. Might we make use of trapdoors to some extent, I wonder? You know, I'm not really sure where I'm going with this. I did just have a different idea for these, though. So we'll have the 3 little houses here, 3 little huts. And then the other things animals need are food and water. So for food, we're going to give them some hay bales. And for water, we're going to give them water. Controversial, I know, but we'll see how it works out. We'll do the wood down there. And then we're going to do the trap doors like that. And we'll have our feeding trough. And inside of that, we'll have our 3 bales of hay. Right? And then we're going to do the same thing over here, and we're going to try to put water in it. I don't know how water will interact with trap doors, but I think it ought to work. And no, I did not mean to make exactly the right amount of trap doors. It just happened to work out that way. Perfect! It's an infinite water source and everything. Oh, and it's going to get dark. Oh, I guess we need to do something about lighting in here. Yeah, no, didn't think about that. Lanterns, maybe? If I put them at that height... The only concern I have is that they'll look silly from down here, or they'll obstruct the view too much. Let's go grab some lanterns, and I think we might end up placing them a block higher, or even staggering the... Ooh! Staggering the placement. We're gonna grab lanterns, and I was going to grab iron bars, and I am going to grab iron bars. I don't know why I said I was going to. I was thinking about having a nap, but it's probably best to do this at night, so we can actually see how it's going to end up looking. And then also, we should fill these up and drop them back off upstairs. So I don't have to do it later. We're minimizing work required at a later date by doing it now. A novel concept. I'm the first to ever come up with it. Place is gonna be full of monsters. Just a skeleton. Alright. Big animal fan? Took him a while. I don't even know where you came from. Did you come from over here? There's enough light over here. You shouldn't have been able to spawn over here. Except for maybe in here. No? No, I'm not really sure. Oh. Okay. Yeah, that's a mystery. Figure that out later. Heavens! What is up with the skeletons in this place? The reason we brought the iron bars is because I wanted to experiment with how that looked. And I'm already not liking the results, to be honest with you. Nah, that's not what's gonna happen. No, don't like that at all. If we had, like, bears, and we will, I guess, we'll eventually have polar bears. Those are the fiercest of the bears. They're also just a-holes. They'll just attack you for no reason. That's a polar bear. Just to flex on the fact that they can. And they'll get away with it, too. No one does anything about it. So there we go. Lanterns. I think that's good. I think that height is good as well, because you can see the houses and the lanterns don't obscure any of the views. So I think that's definitely the right approach. And I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, I was going to say iron bars for bears. That almost sounds like a weird political, like, campaign slogan. Vote Howdy Folks. We'll bring iron bars to bear. This is plural. If you're wondering why I had regular planks in my inventory, it was specifically so I could make sticks, so I could specifically make dark oak things. Fences. I know what I'm saying. I know how words work. Okay. Gotta figure out how to target the middle. We don't want to have too much light down here, though, because we don't want it to disturb the animals' natural sleep patterns and circadian rhythm and all of that. Maybe just one lamp over the food and one over the water, with the main concern now being that's going to attract insects. They're going to get into the food. They're going to get into the water. We're going to have mosquitoes in the water. The mosquitoes are going to be awful. Oh, miserable. That ought to be okay right there, right? Let's see. So the whole place is pretty well lit. There's only one spot left over here where we might have issues. Can we cheat a little bit and just put like a torch maybe right over here? Yes, we can. All right, perfect then. That's exactly what we'll do. And of course, light is being... we're holding light in our offhand, so it's casting it all about. But this is what the place is going to look like once we're done with it. Obviously, this does not remain, so that's got to go. And I was thinking that maybe in the space around these... Can I break that? Yeah, safely. I was going to say maybe around the troughs specifically, we ought to go ahead and replace that with the coarse dirt as well. And of course, we can't just plop down the coarse dirt. We got to kind of blend it in a little bit. Yeah, okay. I think that on both of them, it needs to come out underneath these posts. I don't know why, but I feel like that's definitely going to look a lot better. And it does. So there we go. And I've got 2 pieces left. I'm going to go ahead and just put them here so I don't have them and I don't have to deal with them later. Get that piece. There we go. Perfect. Perfection. Now we need some bone meal. And we don't have to go inside for that, because we should have plenty right over here. I'm going to go ahead and just grab 16. We're going to say that's how many we're going to use, no more, no less. Probably working myself into a corner here. We might not even need that much. I mean, there wouldn't actually be all that much grass. Maybe on this side of the field there would be, because maybe the animals spend most of their time sort of like around in here. Or maybe Yeah, I feel like double grass would definitely not exist. Once we have sheep and goats and things in here, they're gonna mow all this down. It's not gonna last. There we go. There we go. Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, yeah. All right. Final thing to do is empty our inventory and then get the chickens in here that we already left in that field over yonder. Hopefully they're still there. All right, little chickadees, where did you go? Chickadees, I have chickadees. I have Carolina chickadees. I had to look them up because I wasn't sure what they were, but they go to my bird feeder. They're adorable little creatures. Oh, there you are. Okay, come along. These aren't Carolina chickadees. These are warm biome chickens. Kind of like the chickens. I guess, you know, every chicken in the state of Texas is a warm biome chicken. I suppose out to the north and the west it gets a little chilly at times. Why is that always a gap? I feel like I filled that exact gap in before, and it's just open again. Maybe I'm imagining that. I don't think that's part of some grand conspiracy. Can you use stairs? This is exciting. I've got a new home for y'all, and I think you're gonna like it. It's much better than just the wild acreage over there where you were free to roam to your heart's content. This is much more of a caged environment. But it's safe from monsters, it's well lit, there's food, there's houses. You didn't have houses before. You got places to sleep now. How fun is that? I didn't mean to do that. I owe you a sincere apology. I did not mean to throw an egg at you, and I hope you will learn to forgive me. Whichever one of you that was. Apparently it didn't cause lasting damage, because they're all here and they're pretty chill. But there it is. That's where your water is. That's where your food is. Look at this place. Ain't it swell? There's some... I wish the chickens were in view for thumbnail potential. Like, you can see the one out there. One of these is going to end up being the thumbnail. Not this one, because it's got mice on Venus appearing on the screen at the moment. Maybe this one. You can see a couple of the chickens. Well, I don't know if this is exactly what you had in mind, Janco, but I almost said Janco McJackrabbit. Janco McDooling. Awesome name still. But hopefully this gets the job done. And overall, I am pleased with the result. I was worried I was going to be upset when I looked at it when it was finished, and I saw that we no longer had that big blank area to work with. Like, I liked having that empty field, but now that it's actually developed and I see what it's turned into, I think this is a good use of our territory. Now, it's going to get overflowing with all the various different types of mobs, but like I say, it's temporary. Are we actually going to literally build an ark? Comment down below if you think it's ridiculous that we actually literally build an ark out there. The ark was a temporary measure. It wasn't meant for animals to live on forever. That feels cruel, to have an ark where they're stuck for literally ever. It's a closed environment. I think it's better to leave them out here. Maybe not in this spot, and maybe we go on to build multiple different habitats for different creatures. Maybe this is just where the chickens are, and we have, you know, cows someplace else, and we have the pigs someplace else, and this is just for chickens here. Or something like that. Maybe we have goats on a miniature mountain. Maybe in the years to come, since this is our forever world that we'll be playing on until I die, and then who knows, maybe someone will pick it up and carry on. Maybe the island gets expanded. Maybe this gap gets filled in over time, and a whole new area for animals is built. Maybe the entire island has a second floor put on top of it, and that's built up on top of, and people forget what's down below. And it's sort of like Coruscant, the ground levels of Coruscant, where who knows what's going on down there anymore. And Aboleth shows up, and she just lives down there, and there's lava, I think, and she eats souls. I don't know Star Wars lore, like the deep lore, that well, the old legend stuff. Until next time, thank you folks for watching. God bless you. See you later. Goodbye.